Good day to my fellow landlocked surfers. This is Mark the Landlocked Surfer, and today I'm going to be giving a really special tutorial. This is one that's come by special request by many people for those who've started surf skating and are looking to progress into bull riding. So today I'm going to walk you through some of the basics of getting started in riding bulls with your surf skate. If you look at the way professional skateboarders who spend a lot of time skating bowls set up their boards for riding in a bowl, you can see a lot of commonalities with surf skates. They like to have wider decks, larger wheels, and really loose trucks. So a surf skate is really the perfect tool for riding around a bowl. And really when you get in there, there's nothing quite like it. The rush of the speed as you flow around following your lines through the bowl, it might actually be the best way to use a surf skate. This will go through the basics to get you started. If you've never been to a skate park before or never tried riding a bowl before, it can seem intimidating. But just remember, we always start small. You don't have to go in full speed right away. That said, there are a few key things that you'll want to be comfortable with before you get started. One of the things to practice is going up and down a slight incline, so being comfortable knowing how to adjust to those shifts and slope. This is something you can practice before you show up at the skate park. Look for a tiny little ramp. Sometimes there might be an accessibility ramp at a building. There might be a bank in a parking lot. Just be creative, look around, practice pumping up and down those ramps. You're also going to want to be really comfortable with your carving or your turning on flat land. So being able to make nice tight turns, both front side and back side, that's going to serve you well once you get into the bowl. If you do have access to a ramp or a bank that would be wide enough to accommodate going up, putting a little turn in and coming back down, that would be even better to practice on, but it won't hold you back if you can't find that before getting to the bowl. So starting out, I always tell my students to look for a nice big corner. The corners of bowls tend to be a little bit easier. They're a bit softer in the transition, so they're not as steep. And also when you hit them at the right angle, they're just going to help guide you right around your turn. So what I want you to do is find that corner that you feel comfortable approaching and find an angle to it where you feel if you were to take a bowling ball and roll it, you could get it in a straight line right to that corner. And then think about after that bowling ball goes up the wall and down the corner, where's it going to go next? Is it going to lead into another opportunity for your next turn? So that's called planning a line, and that's just kind of a visual tool to help you find the right place to start from. If you're trying out a bowl for the very first time, I want you to start slow. Take a few strides before you hit the wall and get a feel for it. But once you've done that a few times and you're starting to feel more comfortable, it's weird that bowls are actually easier to use when you're carrying some speed into your turns. And that's because it's relying on flow. When you bring some speed in, you're just going to stick to the wall better because you're using gravity to push you right up against the wall of the bowl. So if you're watching this video, chances are you aren't really a master at dropping in from the top of coping. And so in that case, you're looking for a path to the bowl that lets you come in carrying some speed. And there's different ways to do this. You can make use of a downslope ramp that would give you an entry to the bowl. You can use waterfalls and pump down those to gain some speed on your entry. You can also use hips and use your momentum to pump up and then pump down and bring some speed in. If you have a bowl that's a pool style where there's no roll-in or other type of entrance aside from dropping in, you can always just start inside the bowl and push and pump on the transition to start getting some momentum. Okay, so we finished our planning. Now let's talk about actually riding in this bowl. So surfers have a saying about how to ride a wave well, and that's to hang loose. Riding a bowl is about maintaining a smooth flow, and staying loose is key. Think of it this way, you want your hips, knees, and ankles to be loose so you can flow around that bowl like water, hugging right up against the walls. But at the same time, you want to keep your upper body relatively stable while you're doing this. In terms of foot positioning, I don't really change my stance all that much from the way I have it if I'm pumping on the flats, so you don't need to worry about that. But one thing I do want to focus on is it's always when you're in a skate park, no matter what you're doing, if you're riding a bowl or trying other tricks, You want to keep your knees bent. Those are your shock absorbers. Staying low helps you avoid injury. If you're on transition and you straighten your leg, that's where you have the most potential to kind of have the board get away from you and fall on your tailbone or on your head or something. So especially when you're learning, try and make extra conscious effort to keep your knees really well bent. As you get more comfortable, you can start to straighten up a little bit. When you're thinking about riding in a bowl, it's almost like you're jumping and you're getting some assistance from the walls to get up there. So if you think about it like this, let's say I'm on my board. If I'm starting off on the ground here and I want to get up to here, what I would do is start low. I would jump up, lift my feet to get up to here, and then I'd come back down and get low on my exit. So when you're riding on the board, it's going to be the same thing. At the bottom of the bowl, you're going to stay low. When you get to the wall, that's when you get your little jump. So you're extending your legs, but very quickly, you're going to suck those legs up and bring them up close to your chest. As you come back down, you're going to get back into your crouch. When you get to the base, you're going to extend out. That's going to keep your momentum. That's going to help keep you stable. So when you're getting started, it can actually be easier, rather than getting right into the bowl, try just going up a wall at the quarter pipe. Nice and easy. So for 90% of people, it's going to be easier starting backside. So you're going to start turning so you can see your landing. That makes it way easier when you're starting out. Frontside like this, your back is to your landing. It just makes it a little bit tougher when you're getting started. So find a little inclined ramp that leads into your bowl and use that to get started so you don't have to push or pump to get there. Then when you have that, just aim for those corners, up, extend, down, up, down, up, and down. Now to really make the bowl work and to keep your flow going, you're going to have to learn those frontside carves as well. So I'll show you how here. It's a little bit trickier, but once you practice it, it's not too bad. Key thing, again, keep your knees bent. So keep your knees bent, your shoulders rotating. So once you extend, you get onto the wall, you're going to want to immediately start looking over your shoulder, look to your landing. The hard part about frontside turns is that you can't see your landing when you start. So as long as you keep looking, you get up on that wall and you start turning your corner, your surf skate trucks are going to guide you the rest of the way. Let's try it out. I'm going to do a backside turn, back to the other corner. We're going to go front side. See how I'm staying nice and low, extending. Frontside turns will often come easier for people who have a surf background. Now for those who don't, I'm going to spend a little more time to go through that because it can be tricky if you're not used to it. So again, you're going to come in, up, down, up, over your shoulder, down, up, over your shoulder, down. Let's break that turn down in slow motion. You can see the first thing I do is get my knees really bent, getting low to compress in preparation for that frontside turn. Look at my eyes here. I'm looking where I want to go up that wall, and to do that, I'm going to give a little bit of a hop to unweight myself to get up the wall before I start looking over my shoulder to come back down. Now that I'm at the peak of the arc of my frontside turn, you can see that my knees are right up. I'm leaning forward and getting ready to ride and pump down so I can be prepared for my next turn. When you're carving in a bowl, your carves should be arcs. You want to arc up to the peak and pump down. Imagine that you're a unicorn leaving a trail of rainbows behind you. So when you look back at the end of your run, the wall should be plastered with these picture-perfect rainbows. Now, one thing I want to say is that surf skates have a bit of an advantage over typical skateboards in a bowl. Because you've got those sticky wheels and you've got the really loose trucks, you can actually sometimes get a double pump in. So you don't have to complete your arc. You can go up your arc and then get a second pump before you even hit the bottom. That's one advantage of surf skates that lets you get around the corner of a bowl or across a flat section and carry that on to have a better line than someone could have with a regular skateboard. So let's finish this basic session off with some recap of the key messages from this video. The first thing is it's worth taking a few minutes to plan your line. Look around the park, find the way to enter that bowl in a way that's going to maximize your efficiency, make you set up for the first big turn and then the next following turns. Secondly, remember to keep your knees bent, more bent than you think you need to. This is going to help keep you safe as you're starting to learn this process. Third, find lines that'll help practice both your frontside and your backside turns. In order to become a master of the bowl, you're going to have to learn how to do both of these effectively. Also, as you keep progressing, remember to look for more ways to increase your speed. So finding ways to enter the bowl with more speed, whether it's by dropping in, whether it's finding a line that lets you gain momentum over a hip or pumping off of a wall before you get into the bowl, that's going to make it better. It's going to help you get higher in your arcs and have more fun overall. And the final tip is to make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can get the notice when I launch the next session, which is going to be about intermediate bowl skills. In that one, we'll get into some of the more advanced skills for advancing your bowl riding. Things like dropping in, carve grinding, and airing out of a bowl. If there's anything that you're having trouble with, feel free to drop it in the comments. Let me know, and I always do my best to get back to everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.